President Nito Quabain and I are here to speak on behalf of the 36 independent colleges and universities in the state of North Carolina. And we certainly understand that the work of the General Assembly is difficult work. This tax reform package is hard. But we want to come today, I think, with a strong message that those of us in the nonprofit sector believe that expanding the tax burden for nonprofit organizations is exactly the wrong approach. And at a time when we're talking about reducing the burden on for-profit companies, that we ought to have parity or equity in that regard. This week, it's, I think, poignant that we're having this conversation at a time when we're mourning the loss of Governor Jim Holtzhauser, who is a member of the Elon School of Law Advisory Board, a good friend, and somebody that supported education tremendously throughout his time as governor and well beyond. Champion of a statewide kindergarten program, champion of the UNC system. And he was a wise leader because he had a fundamental understanding of the ways that public policies shape a productive society. And we've got to keep that in mind. When we look at the big picture of North Carolina independent colleges and universities, I'd like you to bear 3 points in mind this morning. First of all, our colleges and universities are a tremendous asset for this state. When I came to North Carolina 15 years ago, what I knew about North Carolina was principally, this is a state with great higher education. We don't want to erode that. That is one of the leading assets of North Carolina. Secondly, our institutions are economic engines for our state. We employ a lot of people. We bring talent to North Carolina and to our local communities that has a tremendous difference. The economic impact of our colleges and universities is tremendous. And our colleges and universities provide a significant cornerstone for the quality of life in North Carolina. And I think more importantly, provide an opportunity for the next generation. And I think that's something that North Carolina has always looked out for in its history, is what about that next generation of young people that's coming up? We can't forget about them in order to focus only on the present day. So as David outlined, the North Carolina General Assembly is looking at changing the rules of the game. For decades, we have enjoyed the opportunity to have our sales tax payments refunded to our colleges and universities. For my institution, this is about a $1.7 million potential tax hit. That's very, very significant. And the other significant rule change here is that we're talking about the possibility that tax deductions that our benefactors receive as a result of making, for instance, scholarship gifts to the institution could be lost. That's going to hurt college students very directly and very quickly, and we don't want that to happen. I want to get back to this point about colleges and universities are part of the economic engine of this state. Elon employs 1,200 full-time people, 300 part-time people. We bring students to North Carolina from all over the country. The economic impact is in the tens of millions of dollars a year. President Quabain has led a miracle at High Point University in terms of bringing that institution to national renown as a result of his work and the work of his faculty and staff. These are great success stories, and we can't forget, again, the employment base that makes such a critical difference to our state and region. Adding this tax burden to private colleges and universities is very much a counterproductive move and something that we don't want to do. The final point I want to make is let's not forget about who's picking up the tab here. If these provisions are put into effect, the people that are going to pick up the tab are tuition-paying college students and their parents. No doubt about it. And there has never been a time in my 15 years as president of Elon when I tell you that the conversations around the dinner table about how to pay for college have never been more intense than they are right now. Putting another burden on these families is exactly the wrong thing to do at the wrong time. I hope the General Assembly doesn't forget what made North Carolina great. What has made North Carolina great for decades is a tremendous system of education. It is what it separates us out. This investment in the education sector, pre-kindergarten through graduate school, has built the North Carolina that we enjoy today. We don't want to see that go away, and I'm optimistic and hopeful that the Senate will come to agree with the House on the correct approach on this aspect of tax reform.